Okay, you must forgive me for I have not shaved. I was supposed to shave last night, but I was actually watching 1 Hour Photo on Encore West and Good Will Hunting on regular Encore East. Okay, now when I talked about Robin Williams passing, I refrained from talking about his alleged suicide. I thought it was very funny, not funny, but suspicious that you suffocate in your own home. But I did not want to say suicide until it was absolutely confirmed. And it obviously is now confirmed. Now I want to talk about the suicide as a concept. And this is a video that I want young people to see because teen suicide is through the roof these days. And also young people have parents and siblings and friends that are contemplating that course of action, and they might come across something like this. So I don't want to tell people this video is for 18 and up only and then have a 15-year-old say, well, I wish I watched your video and knew. Okay? So this is a very mature subject, but I want younger people to know about it because they may very well find themselves in this situation. Now, you cannot, as a layperson, talk a depressed person into happiness. Okay? They need professional treatment. And even then, professional treatment is very difficult. Okay? Psychologists, psychiatrists, interventionists, they will tell you the same thing. It's so hard to stop a guy from wanting to commit suicide, but you or I have no chance of solving this problem on our own, period. Now, I don't know what the percentages are, but a lot of people that want to commit suicide and do commit suicide usually talk about it first. I don't know if it's 10% or 90%. If someone is seriously talking to you about, well, my life sucks, I wish it would end, blah, 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 you ever think about killing yourself? Okay, you should immediately get them treatment right away. That means literally call 911 to say my friend wants to commit suicide, I need to get him to a psychiatrist now. And you should not leave that person alone until help arrives. You may have to step out of the room to make the call and come right back in. You know, you don't want to let them know you're calling for help because they might do something stupid. But you want to call for help right away and not leave them alone. You also want to make sure they cannot reach guns, knives, belts, shoelaces, pins. You don't want to leave them alone in the bathroom. If they have to go to the bathroom while you're waiting for an ambulance to come or police to come, you might want to leave the door open. Literally leave the door wide open and watch them, make sure nothing stupid. Keep them away from the windows, away from glass, because you never know what they're gonna do. Another sign people are going to commit suicide is a healthy person of a young age is giving everything away. You see a lot of guys in their 90s giving stuff away. They're going to die soon. They want you to have whatever you have to have. You see a lot of people who are unfortunately terminally ill. They give stuff away. It happens. But if you have a person who is of a fairly young age and is not dying, at least that you know of, and they are literally giving everything away. Now in 2007, late 2007, I was taking a psychology class for my associate's degree. I got a new bedroom set, and I cleaned out so much junk in my bedroom that I had like 7 bags of clothes I didn't need anymore. I had garbage bags piled a mile high. I was just throwing all crap I didn't need. I had no idea this crap still existed. Just crap in every drawer. I threw it all away. But I kept my comic books. I kept my action figures. I have action figures still in the packaging. I kept my collectibles. I kept my jewelry. I kept my yearbooks. I kept mementos. And I was very excited to get a new bedroom set. So obviously that's not a sign of suicide because I'm only getting rid of junk and I'm getting a new bedroom set to, you know. But if you see a guy who's literally giving everything away, including his comic books, his baseball cards, his yearbooks, jewelry, things you know he would never part with. You know, you have a comic book worth $50,000 and he gives it to you for free and says, I always wanted you to have this, take care of it for me. That's a very, very bad sign. A bad sign that they might be going within a few days. Also, if they literally take out their address book and they literally call every single person they know, or they do a mass email of like 50 or 60 people, every single person they know, to say, I love you, goodbye, you're my friend, that's a warning sign. My friend Joe Acasella, who died of kidney failure, we had a mutual friend of ours, literally since the cradle, who was on Facebook and he wrote, you know, your friend writes on another friend's wall and it comes in your feed, you know, you're my friend, I love you, I've known you for so long, blah, 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 blah. And I skipped right down to the bottom where it said, rest in peace. Girls give each other massages, girls sleep in the same bed, girls hug and kiss. Guys, we don't do that stuff, okay? So when one guy is telling another guy, I love you so much, you're my best friend, I can never live without you, okay? That is not normal behavior amongst guys. That's how I knew my friend had died, because our mutual friend was writing on his Facebook wall in that metaphor of beauty and serenity, okay? These are words we pick out when we die, okay? I'm not going to tell my friend, man, I love you so much, I want to hug and kiss you, okay? You tell your friend that when your friend is dead or dying. So if your friend is talking to you like that, that's a sign I would watch out for. Then we have the obvious thing. You're finding notes. Maybe you find a suicide note. There are just certain things. Maybe they're doing a lot of research on methods of suicide, painless methods of suicide, quickest methods of suicide. Okay, they're very entrenched in suicide. Are they getting a degree in psychology? Are they studying to become a suicide helpline person? If they're not, that's a sign. You might also have a case where the person is literally caught red-handed. Now, let me explain this to you. You have an obligation, and you can get in trouble for it later on. You have an obligation in many states, many areas, to report to the police if you see a guy about to commit suicide, if you see a guy in the building getting ready to jump, if you see a friend with his knife out, getting ready to slit his wrist, if you see a guy putting a rope around his neck or putting a bag over his head, or, you know, parking the car in the garage with the exhaust pipe going into the, okay, you have an obligation to call the police and tell the police, my friend is going to commit suicide right now, I need immediate assistance. Most of the time, your obligation ends there. Okay? You, in most cases, are not required to physically wrestle a gun away from them, to physically wrestle a knife away from them, to go onto the ledge of the building 20 stories up and try to creep around to grab them. Okay? That is a case where you have to decide, am I going to do that? And you have to understand that you yourself might be hurt. I might come into a room and see my friend with a gun pointed to his head, and I might try to wrestle it away, and the gun might go off and I might get hurt. Okay? You have an obligation to report it, but you don't necessarily have an obligation to step in the middle of it as it's happening if you fear for your own safety. Okay? But if you choose to do that, can you overpower them? Can you get it out of their hand? Can you control them? Very, very difficult decisions. If there's 5 or 6 guys together and you got a guy putting a rope around his neck, you might be able to get it away from him, get him down, get it out from his neck. But you never know. If you remember Steve-O from Jackass, I'm not a big fan of Jackass, but we all know who Steve-O is. He was drunk. He was on drugs. He was in the middle of a major psychotic episode. He made a videotape where he actually put a revolver to his own head. His friends went over his house and they literally grabbed him, put him in the car, and drove him to a mental institution. You know, you have to do what you have to do sometimes. You know, if your friend is gonna go, you have to get in between them fast. You know, you have to make that decision. And you know, that's a decision you have to make sometimes. It's uncomfortable, it's hard, but you gotta do it sometimes. There was a sniper who worked for Spetsnaz. He was a special forces operator for Spetsnaz, trained as a sniper, trained as everything. He was on weaponology. Now Spetsnaz is Russian special forces, so he's typically not in line with the United States sometimes, but he's just something prophetic. He said, when you have a sniper, you're in a world with, you know, you're in a very small world with you and the person you're going to make a decision about their life. You have to make a decision about their life. And that decision, the easy decision, is not always the best one. And the best decision is never the easy one. Now, obviously, this is not sniping. It's not political assassinations here. This is your friend committing suicide, but you and your friend's going to commit suicide. And you and your friend are in a very small world together. And you have to make a decision about your friend's life. And that decision is not going to be the easy one. Your friend's going to be mad at you for a long time, but, you know, it's so much easier for me to live with. I called 911 and had my friend taken out of his house in a straitjacket and sent to a mental institution. That is so much easier to live with than my friend told me he was going to do it. I didn't believe him. I went home and I found the next day he killed himself. If you come into the room and the action has already taken place, if you can tell the person is visibly dead, no questions asked, my advice to you is to leave everything where it is, call 911 and say, my friend, I think he committed suicide. It looks like a suicide. I need police, medical, fire, detectives. I need guys here now. They're going to come in and they're going to treat it like a murder. And they're going to look for any sign of a fight, a struggle, something like that to make them think it's foul play, other fingerprints. And then they'll determine, okay, he killed himself. It looks like a self-inflicted gunshot wound or a self-inflicted knife wound. It looks like he killed himself. Okay? But if it is obvious that they are dead, maybe they shot themselves in the head with a shotgun. They blew their own head off and there's no question they're dead. Leave it. Leave it because there's no use at that point if you think they're dead. If you know they're dead. If you think the person might be saved, you still gotta call 911. That goes without saying. But if you think there's a chance the person might be saved, you can interfere with the scene. However, you can only interfere with the scene with the desire to save the person's life, and you must tell the police what you did. I cut him down, I bandaged his wrist, I laid him on his back, I opened his airway, I breathed in his mouth, I did chest compressions, I elevated his feet. Okay? If the person has a laceration on their wrist or on their wherever the hell it is, I think to bandage that as quickly as possible. I would check their pulse or their heart as quickly as possible. I did take a class in CPR and first aid in 2007, September to December 2007. I'm a little rusty, so I cannot teach you first aid. You have to go and watch a video done by a paramedic, or actually go take the class yourself. But you might try to render medical first aid, CPR, breathing, chest compressions. You might try to roll them on their stomach and do the Hunt maneuver to see if anything in their stomach that can come up. Maybe they took a lot of aspirin or a lot of whiskey. Probably seen that a lot. A guy takes a whole bottle of aspirin and whiskey, and you got to bring that up. Okay, you might want to do that. You know, compressions, turn them over, and impact their stomach, make them throw up. Anything around the neck has to come off. I always carry my knife with me. I mean, I always carry a pocket knife. All my fans know it. I carry my Cold Steel Voyager, and I carry that damn near everywhere I go. I carry it everywhere except government buildings, and I carry it all the time. You never know when you're gonna need a knife. You want to get a knife and cut the rope. If they're hanging, cut them down, and then try to see if you can get the rope away from their neck. Be careful you don't slit their throat by accident when you're doing this. Be very careful. Your hands might be shaking. If they have a belt around their neck, you might want to unbuckle the belt, or unfasten the belt, or unwrap the belt, or however they got it. If you are a certified person, you're a paramedic, or a doctor, or a nurse, or someone that knows a little bit more, probably already know what I'm telling you anyway. You might want to give them a shot of adrenaline in their heart, or you might want to shock their heart if you're certified for that kind of stuff, if you have the equipment. You may not remove things from the scene. You may take something off their body within the interest of saving their life, or you may put something on their body with the interest of saving their life, but you may not remove it from the room. You cannot cut a rope from around their neck, take the rope and throw it away, and pretend it's not there. Okay? Because if you remove stuff from the scene, or if you lie in a report, that's a felony punishable by 3 years in prison. So just say, I cut him down, I tried to give him CPR, he wasn't responding. Totally acceptable. You're going to have to do a little bit of recreation. You're going to have to say, okay, the body was like this, he was sitting like that, she was laying like that, feet were like that, arms like that. You're going to have to do a little bit of iteration for them, but if you try to bring them back, you know, no one's going to blame you. But trying to cover things up, you know, let's assume that you have a woman who committed suicide in the nude. At least you think she did. You don't want to put clothes on her. Okay? If you have someone wearing clothes, you don't want to take the clothes off. Okay? You don't want to like put a flower next to them or put a crucifix next to them. Okay? Anything put on their body is within the interest of saving their life. Chest monitor, bandage, oxygen. If it's not necessary to save their life, forget about saving their soul, that's the priest. But if it's not necessary to save their life, don't put it on their body, don't take it off their body. Okay? And that's just it. We have to be aware that a lot of guys want to kill themselves sometimes. And I've had a family member of mine commit suicide. And he had a son 4 years younger than me. No, a son 3 years younger than me. A daughter 4 years younger than me. A son 8 years younger than me. And he had a baby from another relationship, his next relationship, that was about a year or two old. And he shot himself. We're not going to go any further than that. But it's not fun. And you might be able to prevent it sometimes. Can you prevent every suicide? No. But you might be able to. You might go online and find tips online about suicide prevention. Maybe they did things that I missed. Maybe I did things they missed. I mean, just remember one thing. You will feel if someone is gonna commit suicide and you attempt to get them help and they commit suicide anyway, believe me when I tell you, you will feel so much better knowing you attempted to help them than if you did nothing. Because if you at least attempted to help them, at least you called 911, at least sent them to a psychiatrist, at least checked them into a mental institution, at least you can say, well, I at least tried to help. Because you're always going to be thinking to yourself, why didn't I help? Okay? So, I think we're going to end it there. Please share this video with friends. This is one I'd like to go get out if I can. Okay, thank you.